Praise the Lord, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday night here at the Tabernacle. If you want to find your seats, maybe turn to a neighbor, turn to someone close to you. Welcome into the house of the Lord. Might be rainy, but we've got lots of smiles on our faces. I am excited about this service and what is coming forth tonight. But before we go any further, we want to usher in His presence tonight and turn our eyes on Him. So this is a familiar song. If you want to stand, you're welcome to. But if you want to be in your seat, that is just fine too. Thank you, Lord. We praise you. Lord, you're worthy of all
Thank you, praise team. I appreciate it very much, and definitely can feel that wonderful presence of the Lord. Well, thank you all for being here this evening. This is a very special time. We welcome all. We thank you. Some of you, I'm sure, had to make special effort. You may be seated. Thank you. Some had to make special efforts to be here. Some of the folks that were at Music Fest and they came back for this meeting. We appreciate very much you doing that. And we apologize when we set this date. We didn't realize we were in conflict with such an important date in the state, so we do appreciate you coming. It's also special to have Brother Croucher here because many years ago he stood in this pulpit for this same reason, to build a sanctuary downtown which served our congregation so very well for many, many, many years. And so here we are again, and this is an official congregational meeting. It's called for the purpose of acquiring your approval for the board of directors to build our new sanctuary, and also additional educational classrooms. It's obvious from our attendance, week after week, our attendance is absolutely wonderful, and we appreciate the many guests that join us, and we appreciate the many that have become members of our church the last couple years or so since we moved into this sanctuary. So thank you for that. And how about those 10 baptisms Sunday night? Wow. That was special. That was special. So tonight we want to do 4 things. First, I want to give you a history of our 10-year miracle journey from 301 Indianapolis Avenue to Sandy Creek. And of course, this is not something that we did spontaneously. It's been step by step by step. And at this time, it is a 10-year journey. Secondly, we're going to once again give you an overview of the building and give you once again opportunity to ask questions about the building. Then thirdly, we're going to share the financial means by which we are able to pay for a mortgage to finance the project. And then finally, we will be offering a motion for the board of directors to pursue financing for the new facilities. And again, along the way, we will certainly take time for questions. Let me walk us through a 10-year miracle journey from 301 Indianapolis Avenue to Sandy Creek. It was at our annual progress meeting, April 9, 2014, that the following action was taken. We discussed the situation of the tabernacle having outgrown its educational facilities, the need for additional parking, and of course the inconvenience of our parking being on the other side of the railroad tracks, that our facilities were landlocked and prevented us from expanding for the various needs that we had. Now, examples of those would include, and I'm reading from that meeting, inadequate restrooms, the need for a prayer room, the need for handicapped accessible classrooms, we introduced the idea of selling our downtown facilities and purchasing an existing building on Sandy Creek Drive. On a motion from the floor made by Brother Race Henderson. Is Brother Race in the house? Brother Race, are you here? He's not here. Well, he's the one that got this thing started. A motion from the floor made by Brother Race Henderson, seconded by Brother Tony Blevins. Brother Tony's here. The congregation voted overwhelmingly to proceed with the purchase agreement of the Sandy Creek property, to sell our downtown Seymour facilities and acquire the necessary funding to purchase and remodel the property. And so on April 10, 2014, exactly 10 years from today, the Carpenters College accepted our purchase offer. When I read that today, I actually cried because it just seemed like some type of affirmation to the day. Miracle number one, the Carpenters Union had already accepted an offer from another purchaser, but the buyer was asking for an extension as they secured finances. But the Carpenters College rejected the buyer's request and accepted our offer. And it has indeed proven to be a wonderful journey. November 2nd, 2014, we received occupancy for Seymour Christian Academy. Now, the name changed to Sandy Creek Christian Academy. Miracle number two, we had to get a variance from Homeland Security because of the railroad track being too close to our school. Now downtown, our kids were crossing the railroad track to get to the playground. We move out here and find out that they were referencing something in the books that was, I think, in the early 1900s, late 1800s, early 1900s, where a school could only be so close to a railroad track. That was miracle number two. They gave us that variance. November 22nd, 2014, the school moved into the existing classrooms in the front of the building that were used by the Carpenters College. We then started our remodel project, and on January 9, 2017, Little Angels Daycare was able to move to Sandy Creek. 1 year after purchasing the facility, April 15, I'm a little out of chronological order here, but April 15, 2015, we purchased the additional acreage, so it gives us a total now, I believe, of 36, Brother Spall, 36 acres that APT owns. We sit on a small portion of that with lots of room to expand. And so, miracle number three, we needed $94,000 for the closing cost, but we had somewhat exhausted our funds on the remodel of the building. 2 days before the closing, a parishioner walked into my office downtown and gave a donation of $100,000. And I still thank them in my heart day after day after day. That was miracle number 3. December 28, 2020, the board of directors met with the Guatemalan congregation regarding them purchasing our downtown property. On September 27, it took us almost 10 months, took us 9 months to get that deal through, and we were told by a local banker there is no bank in Seymour, Indiana that will loan them that money. But miracle number 3, a bank did. And September 27, 2021, we had the closing on the downtown property. March 9, 2021 was our first work night converting this room into a sanctuary. And we want to thank you, the army of volunteers that worked night after night after night to hasten the project. And we received occupancy for this room on a Friday evening with the workers still here, finishing up some things to have our first service on Sunday. Miracle number 5, 8 months after starting the remodel, October 17, that was our first service here, and our first service was All Nations Day. And what a special service to have as your first service, because indeed this church not only has been, but continues to be an all nations congregation. October 9, 2022, we had our first meeting with architect Lynn Armstrong. She's been a delight to work with, and it was to discuss plans for the new facility. We launched Project 70 on January 22nd, 2023. Miracle number 6, we now have over $2 million in commitments, designated funds toward our goal of $3 million. And we want to thank Brother Gary Huff and the Building Fund Committee for a great job that they have done. And of course, this congregation for the way that you have responded to this cause. Thank you from the depths of our hearts. And so here we are tonight seeking approval for the board of directors to go forward to acquire funding for the new sanctuary. And we're gonna take time now to give a presentation, one more time, a presentation of the building and that we're wanting to build, and then I'll come back and show you where we are with the finances. But at this time, because we will be voting tonight, we will be passing a roster, and if you're a voting member, please sign the roster. And again, qualifications, we have what's called voting members, non-voting members. All who attend our church and claim this as your church home, you are a church member. However, to be a voting member, there are additional qualifications. Let me read them in their generalities. 18 years of age, must have been a member for at least 6 months. You must abide by the corporate bylaws of the church, believe in the biblical doctrine as set forth by this local assembly, which includes the new birth doctrine of water baptism, Jesus' name, the infilling of the Holy Spirit, a lifestyle that reflects the teaching of the pulpit, faithful in financial support of the church by tithe and offerings, and faithful in attendance to church services unless prevented from doing so by employment, health issues, or something of that nature. So if you feel that you meet the qualifications, the roster is being passed, and sign it, and they're also giving you a ballot, so that in a little bit we will vote. Aaron Arrowwood is coming now, and he's going to give us a presentation.
All right, just a couple of things. First of all, my wife is going to have a microphone. She's going to be up here at the front. I will pause several times throughout the brief presentation here to give you the opportunity to ask questions. So if you want to run up here and grab a mic, or if you want to just wave at her, you can ask any questions. Secondly, please don't get too concerned about the colors, the color schemes, decoration, carpet, wall color, any of that, because none of that is going to be represented in the pictures that we're showing. We've showed you these pictures before, but we're going to go through them again and just kind of explain again the building. So Brother Andrew, if you'd go ahead and get that presentation started. All right, so first of all, just a brief overview of the building. And I wish I had a better picture of this. It's actually a large area there, seating and things. And you can kind of see the corner of it over there, but never really shows it well. And I think the auditorium is up to what, 825 maybe, so that 750 is a little low. We're not going to have chairs. All right. Andrew, if you just go to that next slide. So this is just an overview of the outside. That is the existing building over there on the left. That's the building we're in. And so this new church building, of course, is beside it. And you can kind of tell it's right at exactly double the size of this current, not just this room, but the whole building is about 25,000 square feet, and the new building is approximately 50,000 square feet. If you want to go to that next slide. This is actually a little bit older print. This isn't the official drawings, which you had a chance to look at last week, but just an overview. And then we'll try to dig into that a little bit more. So go to that next slide. And okay, so that is that print with just kind of a 3D rendering on it. Go to that next one. Okay, now, so for me, it's kind of hard to get any idea of what you're looking at from looking at a print, the size of things. So just for illustration, the yellow box is the usable part of the sanctuary we're in right now. So it is approximately 6,200 square feet. So the new auditorium is the green box directly beside it, and it's 14,850 square feet. So it's more than double the size of this. So if you can imagine this room, instead of ending at this wall right here, it's a mirror image of this minus the poles. That's about the size. Yeah. And taller. Okay, and then the T there, which we'll come back to this here in a little bit, but that is the basic shape of the foyer, the open area there, the foyer, and it's 12,000 square feet, and we'll explain a little bit more why that is that size. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so I think the thing about this building that I like probably as much or more than anything else is the fact that when you walk in the front door, so down here at the bottom left of your screen is the front of the building, and as you walk in, to your right and to your left is the entire educational department. So the adult Sunday school classes and the children's Sunday school classes are there right in front of you behind glass. So you can kind of see there a little bit, the glass wall there, so you can actually see in. So a brand new person could come to our church, and when they walk in the front door, they can see where they go, where their kids go, and where church is going to happen, all from 10 feet inside the building. And that is a building that is made for new families, and I'm so very, very excited about it. But as you look at that, okay, so the children's department is there on the right, and it's hard for me to grasp the size of it. So what that is, if on the far right here, that's our current usable auditorium space, and right next to it to the left is the children's Sunday school department area, which is 4,900 square feet. So it's almost the size of this building here, which I think is just fantastic. It's 5 classrooms and then 1 large classroom. So like what you all do in the gymnasium on Sundays, and then, you're kind of breaking out and going different places. That'll all be contained behind one door. So it'll be very easy to control the crowd, and everybody will know exactly where every child is. If a guest comes and puts their kid in the Sunday school, that's where they'll be in one place. I just absolutely love that. And it has bathrooms inside the Sunday school area, so they'll never have to leave that until their parents come to get them. All right, let's go to that. Well, actually, go to the next slide. Let me see what the next slide is. What in the world? Okay, the reason I've got this on here is you see the bathrooms over there. That's not a great rendering of what the bathrooms are going to look like. But across the hall from the bathrooms is 4 rooms. So the 2 top rooms, those are auxiliary classrooms. So whatever is not contained in the primary adult area. So there may be like the discipleship classes or something like that may go on there. But then the next one is the nursery, right next to the sanctuary. I thought there would be a little bit of an excitement. I thought. And then right next to that is the cry area, nursing area. It's all the ladies' wing there, mother's wing. So there, and I think is there a sink? Is there a sink in there? Is there a bathroom in there? I can't remember if there's a bathroom in there or not. There might be. There is at least a sink. Okay, so before we move forward, I want to show you something that I don't really think is anywhere else. So if you look above those auxiliary classrooms and to the left, you'll see a series of small rooms, bathrooms. So that is several dressing rooms and restrooms, all self-contained. And then you walk across the hall to the baptismal tank, which is at the front left of the auditorium. So when people are getting baptized, they don't have to walk through the church. They don't have to deal with electric panels on the walls. For anybody that knows much about 301 Indianapolis Avenue, it's going to be a beautiful, clean experience. And when we have our next service in this building where 10 or 15 or 20 people get baptized, this should take care of that much, much more effectively. All right, go to the next slide. Let's see what that is. Okay, before we go there, any questions so far? Got a question right back here. Yes, yeah, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Yes, ma'am. Okay, I can hear you. Baptismal, Misty, I think we're good. Baptismal area is, so I was showing you right there, but it's at the front. So if this was our auditorium, it would be right there about where my mom is sitting. And then there's a door behind it. The dressing rooms will be immediately behind it. In fact, they don't ever have to walk out into the church. They come out of a door into the baptismal area, and then they exit back out. So they don't ever have to walk through the building in their robe or whatever. Any other questions before we move forward? I guess I should have been specific. Any questions regarding what we just talked about? Sunday school classrooms specifically. Questions? Yes. Help me out, somebody. Counter space, kitchen area, sink, or anything in the kids' Sunday school area? I don't think so. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We did. It was discussed. There's 2 bathrooms. There's at least 2 sinks in there. We know that. I don't think there's like a food prep area. And the reason for that is because right across the hall, like adjacent, is a whole like kitchen, sinks, all the food prep stuff. So we'll make sure you have some nice carts. So whatever you're doing, you'll just shoot across the hall. Okay, any more questions before we move forward? Yeah. That is a great question that does not have a direct answer yet. But I can say, like, potentially this space we're in right now, or something like that. We just feel like the youth it's pretty large, and yeah, he said they want to be near the gym. So yeah, we will at the situation we're in at that point, we'll figure out exactly where the young people need to go. We want it to be a really great space, though, for sure. Okay, we're going to move forward. Okay, this area we're looking at right here is a great space. This is an office. This is the office areas. And again, just to give you an idea of size, the office area is about the size of the usable space in this room. So if that helps you understand kind of the size of it. And what that is pastor's office, probably pastor-elect or pastor's wife's office. There is a small restroom that is not represented well. That is a really big space that on here. These back 2 areas, that's music storage and music technical area, and then also like HVAC and electrical service and that kind of thing. That's on the back. And then pastor's office. Then you'll notice a lot of small squares. Those are all small offices. I'm not going to call out any ministries that get an office, just we're going to make you fight over those. We're actually going to wrestle for the small offices. And there's restrooms in there also. If you come forward, there's a kind of a large space right there that you can see a hallway and then a big space. And that is going to be an open office area. So people that don't necessarily technically have an office could still come in there and work on projects and collaborate and do all the things that all the ministry leaders and heads need to be doing. And then there is going to be a giant, like, what would we call that? Not a closet, but a workroom. So paper cutting machines, photo machine, printers, and paper. That's not going to be the video studio. Sorry, Brother Andrew, not in there. And there is a closet. There is a conference room. And then the last thing I'll point out here, all the way at the front, is a bookstore. So we'll have a nice bookstore there in the foyer. And I don't know what questions we'll have there. Let's just go forward. If you would, just go forward there. All right, so this is the foyer. Ignore the blue wallpaper, okay? I was just playing around. But just want you to see it's potentially going to be a really, really beautiful space. The foyer will be. And go ahead and go forward. This would be from like where the auditorium is, looking out of the glass there. Keep going. That's going to be the kind of the storefront look. That will be the front of the building. Keep going. Okay, let me stop here because from this view, you can see the adult Sunday school wing there behind the glass. And you can also see kind of the corner of the cafe over there. Now, somebody might ask, why in the world do we need 12,000 square feet of foyer space? And the reason is because the adult Sunday school is right there. The children's Sunday school is right there. The auditorium is right there. So at 345, by the time we move in here, all 500 people are going to be released into that space. And it needs to also be a place where greeters can catch guests as they're coming in and those kind of relationships. So that is just going to be P.S. Was anybody here in this room at about 3:40 on Easter Sunday when we were having a church service and 250 people trying to get in the building? That was a little bit of a nightmare. There was some wonderfulness about it. There was also some awkwardness about it. We don't have a foyer here, and that is an example of why we need to have a foyer, just to be able to do multiple things at the same time and not be interrupting each other. Yes? Yeah, as the expansion happens and we're accommodating 1,200 or 1,300 or more in the auditorium, we're going to continuously need more space there, but that will not be a space that we can expand in a future build. So the other thing, and Brother Medeiros, I'm going to take your question in just a second. I'm about to lose my train of thought. What was I going to say? That will also be a space that can be used throughout the week. If you wanted to have a Bible study group, that will be an amazing place for that. You could bring a bunch of people in. You could come in there and study through the week. We intend for it to be an area that is open throughout the week that people can use for different church-related type things. Brother Medeiros.
Is Sister Gail Fields going to be able to keep this whole area clean?
Well, on back order right now, we've got one of those big electric ride-on vacuum cleaners. So we anticipate she'll be able to, it's got a little bit of a learning curve, but I think she'll be able to handle it if we can keep her from running into the walls. All right, go to that next slide. And, okay, so what this is, and I just have to let it play out, okay? This is a kind of a video. And some people are going to appear and disappear. But I just want you to see it because it kind of helps gauge the depth of this area. It's a very, very large area, and it's going to be so nice, and I just want you to see. How many people want it to be solid gray? Gray to the ceiling to the floor. Anybody? No? A couple people. Okay. Is it play? Oh, you didn't push play. Okay, there it goes. And we're going to let this play for a minute, just so you get the feel. The guy's over there. He's smiling. Well, never mind. Never mind. It's okay. Forget it. Let's go to the next slide. Just go to the next. Okay. I think we're going to just hit the auditorium now. Okay, listen, it's 15,000 square feet. It's a very large auditorium. It does not, to me, I look at the print and it just does not look all that big. So you just have to imagine this room doubled, and it is a really nice space. Okay, so go forward. So this is kind of a top view looking down on it with no chairs and a bunch of the exact same person creepily standing around. But okay, you see the baptismal tank over there, nestled in the corner, and you can see that you come out and straight into the baptismal area.
Talk about the prayer room right there.
Yes, prayer area. Okay, yeah, this is a good slide. Can you see the platform? And behind the platform is a big open space. So there's about 15 feet behind the platform that's all open. And we intend to allow that to be a very nice prayer area so people could come in between services, before church, and go back there and pray. And then also, during service, if somebody wanted to go back there and pray, or, sometimes people are praying during service and then the service goes on, but somebody's still praying. That would be a space that they could use for that. Also, that space will be very nice for being able to get people off and on the platform without them having to walk in front of everybody. So like the musicians coming up at the end of service, instead of them having to walk in front of everybody, they'll be able to kind of load the stage from the back, hopefully kind of in the dark. All right, let's just move on. I think we're about there. And again, these pictures, I'm very disappointed with being able to feel how big the space is, but it's my best effort. Go forward. We're back to the outside. Questions before I vacate. Only one question per customer. I'm so sorry. I'm kidding.
With the coming off the back of the platform and loading up that way for the musicians, do they just walk around and back through the audience, or is there a separate door?
There will be
to get
another
out?
door back off to the side. Yeah, they'll be able to get off the platform and out without walking through the auditorium. Brother Mullen. Let's get him a microphone.
Is there ample storage for equipment, chairs, tables, musical equipment, cleaning supplies?
I think so. You know what? Back it up real fast, Andrew, if you can. Oh, go back to that overview. Yeah, we're back to that guy. Okay. Do you see at the very top, there's 2 rooms on the top left and 2 rooms on the top right. Those are both, they will serve as mechanical, but also as storage and maintenance. And they're set up, they've got double doors. The doors are large enough to get equipment in and out of. I think even took into consideration heavy equipment like a lift and things like that. And they are some substantially large rooms. We also have other smaller storage spaces as well. For example, up there just above the cafe is storage. Of course, there is a lot of storage space in the office area for paper supplies and books and curriculum related things of that nature. Yeah.
And we will be we're on top of each other right here. So some of just using the front office area, that's going to be moving over. And then that will all be open now.
Yeah, that's a good point. So something that happened to us when we moved into here, I don't know, maybe it occurred to somebody. It didn't occur to me that we were condensing, when we left 301 Indianapolis Avenue, all the storage and all the stuff we had there, and then we were condensing it into this building, and it was a nightmare. And we discovered this was grossly inadequate. So this is 301 bigger and I think, yeah, we're gonna feel a lot of elbow room here. Yes, Brother Blevins. It's permanent, right? It's big and it's built in. No more on wheels. Amen. Yes. Okay, very good question. All right, actually, I don't know if you can see this. Do you see the foyer on the top left corner? Okay, if you go right above that, that's the corner of the auditorium. And right below, like right there in that corner, now that is a terrible rendering, okay? That's not exactly what it's going to be like. But it's a fairly large space. It's glassed in, and it will allow our interpreters to spread out and have their own space, so they won't be... That's a great question. We have a child question. Right here on the front row, or second row.
How many stories does it have?
That's a great question. Everything in the new building is one floor, no stairs, no big steps. You asked Brother Schuler's question. There are no steps, and to the platform are 2 ramps, wheelchair accessible ramps getting up onto the platform. Yes, Brother Baker has a... Good question. Okay, you see that big hallway there? That going off to the left. So when you come in the building, there's Sunday school department. Yeah, you can. Yeah, there you go. That's better. Thank you, Andrew. You can see the corridor that comes right here. So the garage door will not be there. That will be a large hallway connecting the 2 buildings. The front of the building will be that way, facing the road. Yeah, it'll be just continuation of this building here. A little gap in between, but facing that way. Yeah. More questions? Yes. Wait for the microphone.
So I heard that if we expand, if we outgrow it, that the walls expand or something. Is that true? Like to make
Okay.
more room?
Yeah, so there's 2 things. You see where the platform, see the prayer area behind the platform. If, in the case that we grew quickly and kind of outgrew our expansion, or we grew in number faster than we were able to expand, the platform will be able to be moved back. We'll lose our prayer room, so we'll have to get into gear to expand, but then that back wall will be able to be expanded out for additional space there. But by moving that back, we could expand by 100 or more seats. Dad, this is 24 feet in here, and I believe, do you remember what it's substantially taller than this. So maybe 32, something like that. No, that will be the auditorium. So when you come in the front, it's a stepped. So it's going to be like, I think the lowest is what, 12 feet? 12 feet, and then it goes up to, somebody that's paid attention to these plans and remembers, it goes up to maybe 15 feet. And then when you get into the main part of the foyer, I think that's around 20 feet. Or it might be a little taller than that in the primary foyer area. Is that what you recall, Brother Bowling? Any other questions? Yes. I am trying to figure out what that question means. You mean like, will we talk later about specifically maybe decorations or colors or? There may not be like an open session like this because I would think we'll have about 400 different ideas of what we should do. But I would think that I don't think this, I know, we'll have some smaller committees that'll be working together to wall colors, picking carpet, and things of that nature. So, yeah. Are you volunteering? Stained glass. Wow. Well, I hadn't thought of stained
Just
glass.
became a $10 million project. I'm just kidding.
It's a good question. Very good question. Yes, in the back.
Question though, on that picture right there of the two buildings,
Mm-hmm.
in between the two buildings, are we gonna have like a courtyard there maybe, or like grass? If I was just sitting there thinking cafe there,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's an exit there as well.
So there is not an exit right there. There is an exit from the adult Sunday school. Is there from the hallway? Okay, I also believe Pastor says there's going to be an exit from the connecting hallway, and there will be sidewalks out there. At this time, we're not doing any further developments as far as like any kind of a walkway cover. I don't know what you call that. Canopy. There won't be any canopies or anything, nothing permanent at this time, but that would something we'd really love to do as we move forward to develop that space.
I just didn't want you to have to be out there watering that grass.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. No follow-up questions, please. I think we've made that very clear. Okay, we're going to have to get on with this. We got to get to the business. Any more questions? Going once, going twice? All right, thank you very much. I think we should put a really nice picture up there of the building, whatever one you think is the best one, Andrew.
One of the things that we had to contend with is in between the two buildings is the septic system, the containers. And so that would have been a giant project to have moved all of those. So we're leaving them undisturbed, but we did have a little canopy. That was one of the things that we cut out to save money. It was very, very expensive. But that's always something that we can build at a later time. Although they did leave the patio, so there would be a place for chairs, maybe even umbrella chairs, things like that. Well, thank you, Brother Aaron. Where are we financially? That's what I would like to take a moment here and address. At the end of February, our liquid funds were $1,517,000. That included operating costs, the building fund, reserve funds, designated SCCA. Our fixed assets, which would be our real estate, and other assets, vehicles, after liabilities, $4,454,000 for total assets after we back out anything that we owe, $5,971,000. So just shy of $6 million is our current net worth. We believe that after the completion of the new facilities, and these are not numbers that we've just pulled out of the air. They're numbers that have been thought through, and I want to say a special thank you to Brother Tom Spall, who has spent hours upon hours and working with Sister Mullen to pull all of these numbers, and Brother Aaron Arrowwood, who works with the budget committee. And so many hours put into these to come up with the figures. And I think it would be appropriate to thank them for all of their extra work and their expertise. So I believe we believe a low calculation would be if after the building is built and we had to sell everything. So if we took all of our properties and had to sell it all, we would have $8 million left over. So that, I don't want to say it's a security blanket, because God never wants us to operate without faith. But that's a pretty good number of net worth. Now, the lowest bidder was Gerker Construction. And in all sincerity, we were really pleased that the Gerker family came in as the lowest bidder, because we've worked with them 2 times now in our projects here, and they have been just absolutely wonderful to work with. And you that know the Gerker family know their reputation in our community, and the fact that they are local, and they will be using a lot of local contractors, which is always good for a community with a project of this size. It's good that it's staying local. They originally came in with a quote of $9,103,000, which was much more than we had hoped for. But those are numbers that the only way you can really control them is you just keep building down. And we did not want to build a building that 5 years from now, those in leadership would be saying, what in the world were they thinking about to build a structure like that did not meet the needs beyond 5 years or whatever, just an example. So from that number, we eliminated some things. Some of them were no-brainers, such as the dirt is going to stay here instead of them hauling it away. And so, does anybody out there need some free dirt? Or anyone want to buy some dirt? We're going to have a lot of dirt. I think just in that, and I have all these figures here, but I'm not going to take the time to go to them. But I think just in that alone, it was 30-some thousand for them to not have to move the dirt from this property and take it somewhere else. And we did eliminate some things, and we also determined that there were some things that we can do, that our contractors can do. Most of that, of course, is at the end of the project. We can erect the steel building, those kind of things. And then some things, if we did it, it would drag the project out for many months, and it would wear all of you out. And we would be paying interest on construction loan, and so just a number of reasons that most of this is done by Gerker Construction, but they allowed us to pick and choose some of the things that we will do. And in that process, we were able to eliminate $600,000, which brought it, reduced it to 85 or 8,500,000. And then we currently have pledges and monies in and designated monies of 2,164,000. So that makes us needing to borrow a little over at least 600,000. And so that was the number that the church board settled on. We need more than that, but we feel that it will come in through additional building fund pledges and growth within the church, a miracle here or there, and what did I say? I said 600,000. I'm so sorry. I wish it was 600,000. So that's why you were smiling so big, huh? Yeah, 6,336,000 is what we would need, and the board has settled on a mortgage of $6 million. So $6 million. That's what we would be seeking. The additional monies that we need, of course, is for pews, stage lighting, sound, those kind of things, which are not included in Gerker construction figures. And so we will acquire those by continuing with the building fund, trusting that other people will get on board. I'm hoping that the Spanish congregation gets on board. As of yet, they have not contributed to that. So we're hoping that they get on board. I have a meeting with them April the 20th. But one of the big things that we're going to have to do without hurting the ministry itself. When I say ministry, I'm not talking about the ministers. We're talking about the ministry of APT. Without hurting the ministry, without cutting back in the ministry, because why have a big fancy building with no ministry going on? So we will keep all of those intact, but we do have to cut out the fat. We have to make sure that we do not waste money. In the next 3 years are critical years for saving everything that we can. And I received a text from someone when we started saying to the staff, we need to save money. We can save money. Received a text from someone. They said, I've just left it. I was just at the church, not one soul there, but every light in the building was on. So it's little things like that that just over time can save money. So we'll be calling on you to do that. And I'm sure to some degree there will be sacrifices that will need to be made, and I, for one, am willing to make those sacrifices. So here's the process. We would acquire a $6 million construction loan. After the project is completed, then we would have to lock in a mortgage, and what we have been looking at is 25 years. And of course, there's some variables there depending upon what the banks want to do. So a $6 million loan at 6% interest has a monthly payment of $34,750. Less if the interest rate drops, more if the interest rate should go up. But we are looking at a rate anticipating somewhere around 6% by the time that we get to the 2026 mortgage. So here are the safeguards that we have taken to feel confident to bring this before you, confident that we can meet these mortgage payments, confident that we do need this building, that we are not building just for ourselves, but we are building for the future. We worked our numbers off of our profit and loss for the last 4 years, and from that we're able to fairly or to accurately predict how our profit and loss will be in the future, and we factored in the mortgage payment as we created that budget. We have a budget projecting through 2026, and again, Brother Tom Spall worked very diligently on this alongside Sister Mullen, Brother Aaron Arrowwood, to get these numbers. The Finance Committee has looked at the numbers, and they say that they will work, and of course, it will be their responsibility to continue to monitor the budget to keep us on track. And so the Board of Directors have looked at the numbers. They believe that it will work. I've pastored this congregation for 35 years, and I have always tried to be cautious with our finances, and I ran the numbers myself just yesterday, and the numbers work. So, but the lending institution will run the numbers, and they will tell us if they don't work. So that's where we are. Now, there's a fine line between operating on faith and in operating on planning. God's people have always been instructed to operate in faith, but at the same time, we have been instructed by Scripture to operate wisely. Now, the lending institution will make their decision upon the numbers and upon our reputation. We have a wonderful reputation in this community, but they will look at our current numbers. So we run the numbers because we have to suffice their scrutiny, but we must always depend upon God for His favor, for His blessings to continue to flow, for our church to continue to grow, for revival to continue among us, for new parishioners to be discipled in the blessing of giving of the tithe and the offering. And with that process, this is how we go forward. I want to read from our bylaws from which we must operate. Article 4, and under property, number 1, it says, when the organization determines to purchase or sell property that exceeds $250,000, the pastor and board of directors shall look after the business matters and present their views to the members. A majority of the voting members shall vote upon the purchase or sale of the property in a duly called business meeting. Major projects approved by the members may involve multiple actions exceeding $250,000, and therefore all will be considered approved for action by the board of directors. The board of directors shall be responsible for transacting all necessary business as required by the organization. Number 2, the title of the property shall be in the name of the church according to the laws of the state of Indiana. Article 3, Section 5, Number 3 says, they being the board of directors, together with the pastor, shall care for the business affairs of the assembly as prescribed in these bylaws. The board of directors can make financial decisions for new major purchases and borrowing money in amounts of up to $250,000. Amounts exceeding $250,000 for new commitments will be taken to the church membership for a majority vote on the decision. Existing commitments, including renewals, will be managed by the board of directors and reflected in the annual business reports. The congregation may empower the board of directors to make all legal and financial decisions regarding major building projects and property acquisitions that are necessary to complete the project, and the board of directors will keep the congregation informed of such major actions. And so with that thought in mind, and with us coming to a time in the ministry of this local church that we need to move forward with a new sanctuary / educational wing / offices / adequate facilities for all the ministries. I would entertain this motion. We, the qualified voting members of Apostolic Pentecostal Tabernacle, Inc., at a duly called business meeting for the purpose of approving the acquisition of a $6 million loan to build a new sanctuary at a total cost of $9,135,000, do hereby approve the board of directors to seek the proposed financing for this project following the guidelines as set forth in our governing bylaws according to Article 4, Numbers 1 and 2. We also approve the board of directors to make all legal and financial decisions that are necessary to complete the project according to our governing bylaws, Article 3, Section 5, Number 3. Are there any questions of anything that I have covered here? Then I would entertain a motion from the floor to accept the motion that I read to you. Yes, Brother Roger. Okay, and I also had a hand here, Brother Albert Ochoa. So will you second that motion, Brother Albert? Okay. Are there any questions or comments? We are voting secret ballot because we're not trying to intimidate anyone to vote yes. So you have a ballot. If you're a voting member, you have a ballot. You will write yes for us to proceed as the motion that I read, or you will write no if you don't want us to proceed per the motion that I just read. So we'll collect the ballots. If I could get some of the, if I could get the board members to maybe come up here and count the ballots, please. I would like to vote. Could we get the roster, please? Okay. Okay, we have 113 voting members in the House, so we're counting the ballots, make sure that the ballots at least come really, really close to that number. Okay, we had 113 voters. We had 111 yes, and we had 2 noes. So the motion carried. Thank you. The Board of Directors will move forward. I view this as a momentous night, and I am thrilled. God bless. We would need a motion to dismiss. Brother Randy Schuler, all in favor, aye. All opposed, same sign.